Hello and a warm welcome to the TNC Podcast. Look, we've been going for a very long while here on the TNC Podcast. We have covered promotions, relegations, look, even mid-table mediocrity. But something we've never covered here on TNC is Ipswich Town beating Norwich City in an East Anglian derby.
14 years, Norwich City.
Feels good.
14 years, I say. 14 years, Norwich City. Playing football the Norwich way. 14 years, Norwich City. 14 years, I say. 14 years, Norwich City. Playing football the Norwich way.
Just tasting this coffee, Chris. You know what it tastes like? East Anglian dominance.
14 years, undefeated. Johnny scoring, having fun. Another season that Ipswich cannot beat us. Merry Christmas, Ipswich scum.
Good to see you.
How have we not been battered? Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it.
Are we celebrating a draw?
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah. And the more it boils their piss, I'm totally fine with it.
Look, it was a big game for them.
Well, it was their cup final, wasn't it? And they have bottled it. Mate, they could have been out of sight in the first half.
It could have got messy, couldn't it?
Yeah, their finishing was just tragic. Tragic. Premier League, you're having a laugh.
Look, it's nice to look. So much has happened actually since our last podcast because we've had a win at Carrow Road since we last spoke as well against Sheffield Wednesday. That is kind of paled into irrelevance after Saturday's game.
Only one loss in 7 now for David Wagner's Norwich City.
Has he turned it round?
Could a playoff push be on?
Look, let's. This is. I'm trying to think of my overriding relief from the weekend. I actually enjoyed the game. I think I enjoyed the game. Maybe I was just being slightly sadistic. But I'm relieved, and I'm so glad that those boys dug in and showed a bit of character. Because how often, Chris, have we gone behind this season and just rolled over and let the opposition sort of tickle our belly? And that's what I thought might happen on Saturday when Broadhead popped up after his 5th chance of the game and finally scored. I thought this is going to get messy, and it didn't.
Mate, look, we've criticised the players this season, and rightly so.
Yes.
They deserve the criticism. But my God, did those boys turn up at Portaloo Road on Saturday. Pride, passion, fight, belief, desire, courage. That is exactly what we know this Norwich City side have got, Jack. And now we know they've got it. Let's use this as a platform to get into the playoffs. We've seen that they can do it. Seriously, I know it was a draw, but I'm proud of the way that the boys, held themselves. I really, really am. I thought that from Angus Gunn in goal to Ashley Barnes up top, they all showed everything that was required to get a result in the derby away at Portaloo Road. And do you know what? I need a special mention to Ashley Barnes, Big Bad Barnes, yeah? What was it, 4 minutes in? Yeah? Completely nowhere near the ball, keeper's off the pitch, and he just absolutely takes him out. And do you know what? Good. I said turn it into a fight. I said turn it into a boxing match. But that really set our stall out. Yeah? We're not here to pussyfoot around. Don't mess with Norwich City Football Club. Ashley Barnes, I love that from you.
And I think you put out a stat on the TNC accounts, Chris, and Norwich City are better when Ashley Barnes is in that team.
Yes.
I watched the 90 minutes on Saturday and thought there were a couple of moments where Barnes could have maybe done a bit better. He was absolutely exhausted by the end.
Yeah.
Gave the ball away for the second goal. I think the criticism of that was slightly harsh. He was in a tight space. But spoke to Benjamin Bloom on the channel, who, by the way, go and check those videos out because Ben's always top notch. And he said, being at Portman Road, you could feel that Barnes was just dragging those players over the line. Yeah. And I love the the relationship we're starting to see between Ida and Barnes, not necessarily even from a playing perspective, but Ida loves Barnes. He almost looks, the smile that he gives Barnes when he sees him is almost like he's his son, and it's like a father kind of son relationship. It's brilliant.
I see it as disciple. If I was Adam Ida, I'd be rolling out the red carpet when he turns up to Colney every day. And I really would. This is the... I love what we got on Saturday. I really do. It kind of frustrates me that we've not seen this level of character.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say the whole of this season until that game. The willingness, bravo, win or die. The lads really showed a bit of that on Saturday. And it's about time. Jack, we've got a couple of announcements to make.
I'm out of breath after all of that.
Well, you've got... And we said off... Jack said to me before we started, it's like, Chris, calm it down, Chris. Calm it down. I said, no, you know what, Jack? No. I said, no, you can back off. I'm not calming down because this season has been stale, hasn't it? Let's be honest. Stale to shite. Yeah? Well, it has, isn't it?
Sounds like they're going at a horse racing.
Well, absolutely. Stale to shite, right? And so, but you've got to enjoy the ups, haven't you? You know, and Ipswich fans will be saying, an up is drawing against us. Well, yeah, it's 14 years.
I did find it funny that...
14 years, you haven't even tickled our balls. 14 years. No, seriously, 14 years.
It was amazing.
14 years. Do you know what? I'm sorry, Jack, right? 14 years. I'll tell you, and big thanks to the new revamped BBC Sport
I
page.
saw this on the BBC. A little bit naughty from Mr. Butler.
Big up Robbie B. Well, actually, it was Chris
Robbie
Gorham.
B, is that what you call him now? Your best mate.
I'm just winding him up now. Chris Gorham and Mike Saul have put this list together. 12 things that happened since Ipswich last beat Norwich. Here we go. The iPad was launched. Instagram has been launched. Prince William and Harry have both got married and had 5 children between them. Norwich have scored a total of 993 goals. Norwich Union became Aviva. Harry Kane made his professional debut and became England's highest ever goal scorer. Declan Rudd, from this, has made his professional debut and had an entire career and retired. Big up Declan Rudd, by the way.
Legend.
Former guest on the TNC podcast. In 2009, Alex Ferguson still had 4 years left at Manchester United. London 2012 was still over 3 years away in 2009. Both Ipswich and Norwich had 8 permanent managers each. There have been 6 prime ministers: Brown, Cameron, May, Johnson, Truss and Sunak. In 2009, and here's my favourite one, Ed Sheeran was about to start college.
Amazing. I saw a brilliant picture
They can't beat us.
Saw a brilliant picture of a father and son outside Portman Road after the game, and no word of lie, this kid was 6 foot plus, and in his lifetime has never seen Ipswich Town beat Norwich City. He was 14 years old, just turned 14. Amazing.
Let's do our announcements.
Yeah, let's do it.
That was
actually,
a quick tangent.
Look, Gabby Sauer was brilliant on Saturday, and he's been very generous with us recently. He gifted us a signed shirt. We raffled it off for Big C. The winner will be announced on Monday, so keep an eye out on our social media platforms for that. We raised over £2,500 for Big C, Norfolk and Waveney's cancer charity.
You, the listeners, the watchers.
Yeah, we did nothing.
2,690 quid in the Big C tin. So thank you very much. I very, very much appreciate everyone. £2, £5, £10. You might not have won it, but you've given to a fantastic cause. So thank you. And actually, I should probably say, we're working on something in the background. I probably shouldn't say this. You might tell me off this. We're working on something in the background for 2024 with regards to Big C and certain things. And trust me, stay tuned to the TNC socials because 2024 is getting bigger and better.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for that. And we might repost it, but if you go on, might be able to find it on the Big C website. We went to the Big C lab. In Norwich, they're doing some incredible things in terms of research to try and help cancer, fingers crossed, not be a thing in the future. And it was so nice to see where all of the money that we've raised, you guys have raised over the years, has gone. I think we're at £35,000
really
now. So
right, okay,
remarkable.
And the last thing to plug, and we should talk about him now.
Johnny Rowe.
He came from Colney, he's running down the wing. He'll run at you and you can't do anything. He's fucking magic, and don't you fucking know? His name is Johnny Rowe.
So delighted, Chris.
No fear. Talk the talk, walk the walk, stuck it in the back of the scummer's net. Superb.
Absolutely. Look, if you want to get these t-shirts, loads of you are asking if they're still on sale. Yes, they are. Today, Monday, the very last day, I think you can get them if you want them guaranteed to arrive before Christmas.
Ooh.
Links in the description. All the funds go to help keep this channel afloat. Yes, they are still on sale, as well as the Gabby Sarah mugs. You can also find them over there. Monday, it might be Tuesday, final delivery for Christmas. And I know a lot of you blokes have probably left your gifts late, so get involved.
Johnny Rowe, let's have a go. And he had a go, didn't he, Jack?
Mate.
He tried an overhead kick in the derby.
I am...
confidence.
Look, I was dubious whether... At the start of the season, because we haven't seen too much of Johnny Rowe, I was dubious whether he could mix it with the big boys.
Are you joking me?
Well, yeah, but he's young. Like, so many... Listen, so many times we've seen young players come in and maybe not quite cut the mustard.
Pardon the pun.
This guy is seriously special. And I loved it, put out a tweet on, was it Thursday?
Yeah.
Bring on the fucking derby, he said.
Good.
And I read that and I thought, yeah, that's what I needed. That injected some passion into my bloodstream.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, he will back it up. 9 goals before the East Anglian derby. He's now up to 11. He didn't have too many touches in the game. 2 of them were goals. The first one was brilliant. The second one was brilliant. You know what my favourite thing? I've been watching Johnny Rowe highlights all weekend. I cannot stop watching them because I tell you what I loved, Chris. It was the celebration for the second goal.
Oh, don't start.
He's giving it this to the Ipswich fans now. Only Johnny will know exactly what that meant. But he goes to the away fans. Yeah. You know what that stands like at Portman Road, and it's
absolute pit of shit.
I don't know if you've noticed it. One of the things I enjoyed that wasn't in regard to Johnny Rowe was a Norwich fan launched a steak pie onto the pitch. And
I didn't see that.
Ashley Barnes has gone like, was that? Yeah, it was Ashley Barnes. He's gone like this to try and sort of catch it in his mouth.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, brilliant. But the other bit was, after all of the players kind of descended back to
Johnny went back for more.
Johnny's just stood there and he's taking it in.
Yeah.
And he's just looking at the crowd. And you could see that all of his dreams were becoming reality. And I thought, what a moment. What a moment. Because he's just standing there and he's, thousands of Norwich City fans ahead of him in awe of this man. And I just loved it. I loved it how he stood there.
Could you imagine being Johnny Rowe?
It's what dreams are made of.
He is a kid living his dream. And I got in trouble with the missus after the derby match. She went, do you know what my Christmas wish is, Becky? She went, what is it, Chris? And I went, do you know, I'd love it if Johnny Rowe came around for Christmas dinner. She was like, you taking the piss? I was like, no.
Surely she'd love that.
I literally worship the man. And just, do you know what I love about Johnny Rowe? You've said it there. Taking in the moment and just listen to him as well. His interviews. I know it sounds a bit weird bringing up his interviews, but he's just got something a bit different about him. He's not the normal, standard, boring footballer. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He brings an aura that Huckabee brought in that position. People laughed at me. You're not laughing anymore, are you? Yeah. Double derby delight for Johnny Rowe. He is now in the history books.
Absolutely.
He caused, Portley Road was his playground, as you posted, Jack.
I'm so glad as well, because so often, we've had some really good players here over the years that just haven't quite done it in the big moments, and for that reason, you don't forget them, but you don't remember them as fondly as you probably should. Whatever happens now with Johnny, if he... God, I really hope he doesn't go in January. But
I don't think he will.
I don't think he will either. But let's just say he does. He will be remembered here as an absolute hero.
Yeah.
And you're right, Chris. The way that he speaks in interviews, he's engaging, he's captivating. He's just got this energy that I love, and it's the type of player I want to see do well in a Norwich shirt. I'm proud. When people come up to me who aren't Norwich fans and go, "God, that Johnny Rowe's a bit special," it makes me so proud, and I've honestly been buzzing for the last 3 days. Look, it wasn't the best performance in the world. It was, Ipswich were the better side on the day, But for the moments that we got from that will live for me forever.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to all of those players who really dug in when they needed to. It was a sense of real proudness after the game.
Two special shout outs aside from Johnny Rowe, and we can go on the Rowe show for the whole of this episode, I'm sure, Jack, and we'll come back to it when we do the question statements, rants, and lots of raves at the end of this episode, I'm sure. Two special shout outs from me. Big up to Sam McCallum.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, talk about being thrown in.
I thought he had a tough first half.
Oh, no, absolutely, mate. But, kudos to him.
Yeah.
I know it was tough, but he rode the wave, all given, just. But fair play to him.
I tell you what,
huge occasion for him. Him and my other one is Kenny McLean as well.
Yeah.
And I think now, and look, don't get me wrong, I still think it's silly to have our captain that is an attacking midfielder playing at centre back, but I think there now needs to be a conversation around it. Has Kenny officially transitioned into a centre back now?
Well, look, I mean, I just wanted to say about McCallum.
Yeah, go for it.
Thought he had a really tough first half against Wes Burns, who was really good and got him behind. But the brilliant thing with McCallum was the cross for that first Rowe goal all comes from him really on that left hand side. I thought what he did really well that wasn't really spoken about. I think Chris Sutton actually mentioned it a few times, but not loads, was he cut out so many passes high up the pitch before an attack could start. That was really impressive and something I haven't really seen with Dimi Anulis. So particularly in that second half, because they bring off Wes Burns and they bring on Hutchinson, who's a tricky little winger, and McCallum must have been absolutely puffing by that point. This is his first game of the season, maybe his second or third or whatever, but he hasn't played too much because of Dimi, and I was really impressed with him. Kenny McLean, that was his 200th appearance for Norwich City.
Yeah.
And I just looked at it and I thought, you know what, this man has given everything to this football club. It's not always gone to plan, but what we can't ever disagree on is the fact that he's given everything for this. And we spoke to him and look, he's been through some tough times with this football club and been put through the ringer. But you need players like that. He's been put into centre-back. I'm sure he doesn't want to be playing centre-back. It's a tough gig.
Yeah.
And on Saturday, I thought he was excellent. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think that after we've given him his new contract, I think he's repaying that faith that we've paid in him. I saw someone on social media, I'm so sorry for not remembering. I can't remember everyone and everything, sorry. Someone described Kenny McLean at centre-back for Norwich as a pressure valve. And I quite like that analogy because of the fact he is a midfielder. He is able to pick a pass.
Yeah.
He's able to bring the ball out. And that's what we were saying, is the good thing about Ben Gibson is he's got that ability to pass a ball. And that is what Kenny does exceptionally well at centre-back. As always, we're big Kenny McLean fans. I forgot there's someone else we need to mention who deserves a bloody...
Everyone needs a mention.
Well, I know, but this man deserves a bloody big mention as well. City's number one, son of Brian Gunn. We've got Angus in goal.
It was a
What a save at the end to save the day, eh?
Huge off Broadhead. And another player... Angus, I always think Angus is quite... When you speak to him in person, you're in his presence, he's quite reserved and he's quite calming. But, God, he steps up on the big occasions.
But this is it, mate. Like, I sort of... My mindset changed. When I saw that save from Angus, it reminded me, you've got derby experience. And actually, he's got Norwich City winning the derby or undefeated in the derby in his blood. He stood with me in the Upper Barclay, giving the Ipswich fans pelters. He fucking cares about making sure we don't lose to the scum. What a save it was. And I think that derby experience would have really assured his defence in front of him, actually. So big up to Angus.
I think Angus was
absolutely brilliant.
Angus was great. And actually, aside from the save, the Broadhead miss after he danced through our whole defence early on, yes, he should have scored. Yes, it was a bad miss. But if you watch Angus, he's quick off his line. Yeah. He makes himself big. And if you actually look at the angle behind Broadhead, he hasn't got too much space to tuck that home, and he's gone for the only empty space, and he's just dragged it wide. So he's done well there, and yeah, you're right, he cares. And actually, I looked at that team. You've got Angus in goal, cares deeply. Kenny McLean cares deeply. You've got a leader in Ashley Barnes who just lives for these derby days. Yeah. I was watching. I saw a clip back of Burnley when they played Blackburn last season. Obviously, massive derby. When Barnes scores, it was like the tackle on the goalkeeper. Barnes scores against Blackburn and just shoves the keeper into the back of the net. That's what it's about, and that's what you need. The other player I have to mention, Gabby Sarah. Now, he was playing a bit deeper on Saturday, and the battle was very much him against Sam Morsey. And look, Morsey's a brilliant player and a bit of a shithouse himself. Gabby Sarah won that battle. He mopped everything up. He orchestrated the tempo beautifully. When Norwich were under the cosh, particularly in that first half, there were times where Gabby Sarah gets the ball and with his quality can just bide some time. And I watched that and I thought it was an absolute masterclass from Gabby Sarah.
Yes, and him coupled up with Borja Sainz as well, who made another start. We've been banging the Borja drum all season long.
Looked really good.
He's been ready and waiting, and it's been so silly that he's not started earlier. No. It's stupid,
Just
mate.
hear me out, because yes, now it looks silly, but we don't get to see what goes on in training.
No. I'm not having this.
Just listen. I'm trying to give Wagner some credit here. Maybe if Wagner would have chucked him in at the start, he might not have looked ready. He might have been eaten up. Maybe tactically he wasn't quite ready. Maybe he didn't have enough of the English language. Maybe actually this is a masterclass from David Wagner. He's thrown him in at the right time when he knows he's ready, and he's taken the world by storm.
I'm not saying he should have been at the start of the season. Of course, he had his injury as well, and I get the English language thing. I understand that, Jack. But we've missed a good month of Borja Sainz now. He's being ready.
He looks good.
I'm not having that he's not ready. And at the end of the day, mate, you're a talented footballer. Let your fucking football do the talking. Do you want to like about Borja Sainz? And people laughed at me for this as well. Emi Buendia-esque. His low centre of gravity, the ball stuck to his feet, and again against Ipswich, he's one of those players where if you've got Borja running at you, you don't really know where to go, because he can take it out on the left, he can take it out on the right, he might just fucking nutmeg you and pull your pants down. The boy's an absolute genius. Borja Sainz, massive player for Norwich City. And honestly,
he looked sharp.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and also the one I thought he looked a lot fitter on Saturday.
Yeah,
Because
I agree with that. Yeah.
After sort of 70 minutes against Sheffield Wednesday, I thought he looked a bit leggy, and that's not a criticism of Borja. He's not played this season, but basically a full 90 on Saturday. Looked sharp throughout the whole thing. Another player who I'm going to mention, I think we've now done the full 11. Shane Duffy, who, look, he's had mistakes in him this season. Set up the second goal, made a vital block. I think it was off Broadhead or Burns early on in the first half. Won so many aerial duels, and I think is starting to form a bit of a relationship with Kenny McLean. I'm still not overly confident in him, but if we're taking that game in isolation, I thought he was really good.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I've criticised Shane Duffy a lot, I believe rightly so, but at the same time deserves credit where credit's due for that Derby performance. It was a good performance.
And equally, I think much like Barnes, a player that thrives off of those conditions, can can get sort of rough and ready. You don't want to be a defender and an attacker in those aerial duels. In that type of game, I was watching a video clip with Tom Lockyer this morning, who, by the way, really hope he's recovering. It was horrible to see.
Awful.
But he was talking about the playoff final, another game in which he collapsed in. But he was saying he all he wanted to do in that game was win his first battle. Just if it was take him out, he was up against Jokeres of Coventry. Win the first battle, and I think all of those players had that mentality, and did so. They showed them they were there. They showed them they meant business, and that sets a tone. That sets a statement. And I haven't seen that this season, really, and that's what impressed me. I don't know what it was. And look, we've been critical of David Wagner all season, and I think rightly so. Maybe not all season, but for parts.
Yes.
And I think rightly so, because I think there is more to get out of this squad, and that's what frustrates me. I think he got it right on Saturday. I think he set up well.
I agree.
There were moments in that first half where we were so open in the middle of the park, but I think we adapted quite well.
Yeah.
But the one thing we cannot say is that he's lost the dressing room, because
absolutely agreed. Yeah.
The players love him.
Yeah.
And they're playing for him, and that's half the battle here.
Yeah.
So, look, we can criticise Wagner all we want, and nothing really changes in terms of performance levels from Saturday. But something we certainly can't beat him with is that he's lost the dressing room, because that's simply not the case.
But what I would the only thing absolutely totally agree with all that, Jack. The only thing I'd say is now we go into these festive fixtures, and let's see the same amount of intensity, of courage, of desire, of passion, of fight to get these fucking points and get ourselves into the playoffs. Because that's where David and his coaching staff need to be able to get more out of these players.
Yes.
Of course you're going to be up for a derby.
Yes.
It's the bloody East Anglian derby. If you're not up for that, I'm seriously worried. They've passed that test. They've got through it, and they deserve praise. But now's where we need to see. As I've said already, let's use this as a platform to build.
I think you're spot on, Chris.
Not a 0-0 draw at home. Let's see a really positive performance where we pepper shots on goal, where we dominate possession at home. That's what we want to see.
I think you're spot on, because I think you can win a lot of games in this division with that. Like, you need to be set up correctly, and you need quality, yes. But I watched the Ipswich game against Watford, and they weren't better than Watford on the day. They found a way, they dug in, they showed character, they rode their luck. Norwich can do that this season against probably 22 of the 24 teams. You've got a couple of teams in here who the only way you're going to beat is with sheer quality. Leicester, maybe Southampton. But the rest, bit more intensity. Let's see each other, running through brick walls for each other. And I know it's cliche, but that can really
we've seen it
do things.
We've seen it's worked.
Yeah.
Something that made me laugh.
Go on then.
With our occasion at Portley Road is post-match scum fans saying we're not bothered. Oh well, I'd rather be in our position in second place, and we're 21 points ahead. Yada yada yada, mate. Ipswich fans saying they're not bothered, right? This is honestly the most ridiculous thing ever, okay? They set fireworks off pre-match outside the wrong hotel,
in the middle of the night.
Yeah, they lined the streets pre-match like a pathetic little parade. It was just tragic, okay? They lobbed various items at two 80-year-olds trying to get to the game.
In the car, not actually at them.
And they revealed a giant bin bag across their entire stand pre-match. And they're saying they're not bothered. I find it hilarious. And they're so bothered, aren't they? All these posts on social media, it's all blue and white, mate. The Norwich fans, we're just sitting here chuckling, aren't we? 14 years undefeated. I mean, blooming heck. Do they want any more? Do they want any chips with their salt? Honestly, it's so salty. But them saying they're not bothered is just, it just made me laugh. So much.
I think if we're being serious, were they the better team on the day? Yes. Have they been the better team this season? Yes. Are they in a bit better position as a club than us? Yes. But it is just amusing that once again they fail to beat us. And look, Ipswich fans will be disappointed. I spoke to...
Oh no, they're not bothered. They're not bothered,
They will be disappointed. I spoke to Ben on Sunday morning, who's the most level-headed Ipswich fan, who, of anyone I expected to be like, I'm not bothered, would have been him. And he was disappointed. He was like, this was our chance.
Good.
We have been looking at this. Their next... couple of games will define their season. Leeds away, Leicester at home. If they can get through them that unscathed, I think they go up. Daniel Farker at Leeds is coming under some stick. I think Leeds fans are starting to realise that it's not all glory with Daniel Farker. So that will be interesting to see how that one develops. Russell Martin going very well at Southampton. So they're just over their shoulder. Look, they are a good team. They've got a fantastic manager. Delighted, absolutely delighted that we got something. Should we get on some Twitter questions?
Yes, let's.
Because I'm really excited to see what the mood is like. Are we getting carried away,
we've got to get carried away
is the sentiment amongst the fan base the same?
Come on then, I'll let you go first.
Billy.
Yeah, Billy who?
Billy M, and his profile picture's with me. I think that might have been at Bristol City.
Lovely.
Hello, Billy. Question.
Ooh, friend.
How many years? Statement. 14. Rant. It's not 15. Rave. Will be after April.
14 years, Norwich City.
Love that, Billy.
14 years, I say.
Love that, Billy. Let's go on from Maxim. He says, question. With Sarge coming back and our limited funds, I'd love us just to focus on getting a younger left centre-back with a bit of pace in January. Personally, I can only see us doing one deal in January. So which position would you prioritise if you were Napa?
Ooh.
I wouldn't go with it. I think I agree with you, Maxim. I wouldn't go with a striker because
You're gonna
Sarge is
Sarge
coming
him
back.
yeah.
You've got Barnes, you've got Eder.
Yeah.
Huang will probably go back in January.
Well, we don't know.
Almost hope he does. Don't know. I think wide areas we're okay. You've got Rowe and Science, who are my starters.
Yes.
You've got Hernandez
Yeah.
and Poeta. You've got Christian Fasnacht.
Yeah.
So you've got space there. For me, there's one position that is glaringly obvious that we need.
Okay.
Defensive midfielder.
But yeah, no, and I totally agree with you. I don't think David Wagner thinks he needs that.
Well, I think it kind of feels a little bit. Look,
Let's get Gabby where he should be.
yeah, I agree. And
That's where he can be potent.
the really amazing thing is, like, we played Saturday and we played on Wednesday, where you've got Kenny at centre back.
Yeah.
You've got Nunes and Sarah in front of him. But when Kenny comes forward, which he often does, Nunes, not only is he basically a centre-back, he's kind of like a sweeper, where he's almost as deep as Angus Gunn.
Yeah, funny.
And I'm watching it going,
What's
what
going on?
is this work? Like, this is kind of working, but it doesn't feel right.
Should I like this?
Yeah, it's really strange.
As a famous philosopher once said, it's like a dirty doner kebab. For me, it's centre back. Despite the positive performances, he obviously doesn't fancy Danny Bart for some reason, which doesn't make sense to me. And if you're not going to start Jayden Warner in there, who, by the way, I still think should be playing football for us. I'm not buying the he was injured thing. He might have maybe had a little injury, but he should be playing more football than he is. For me, you've got to sign a centre back.
Grant Hanley's back. Played
But
for the
after a
21s.
big injury, mate, can you really? I don't know. Can you gamble on that?
I mean, again, though, we come back to this argument of, like, Danny Bart was signed probably with the promise of you're going to be fourth choice, right? You've got Gibson, who's injured.
Well, you say that, maybe you're
You've got-
guessing.
you've got
you're making an
Gibson.
assumption there.
Duffy, now Kenny McLean, Warner,
I don't believe
Bart.
that. I don't believe
Who's going to
that.
come in?
Why would Danny Bart sign for us, Jack?
Well, I think he probably thought he had a chance, but you've still...
Oh yeah. No bloody wonder
You're
he thought he had a chance.
I think you're going to have to spend a significant amount of money
Hmm.
to bring in someone who is guaranteed to be better than the five I've just listed.
I don't. My position on the whole January transfer window, I have no expectations. I don't get how all the narrative was. We haven't got any money to all of a sudden now. Oh, we could sign some players in January. That to me doesn't. I'm not adding that up. Maybe I've missed something. I know that there's some debt that's been not written off, but essentially moved, and that makes it work. And I kind of get that, but. For me, I'm not expecting us to sign any showstoppers in January to help us get into the playoffs.
I think for me, it's almost a good window would be keeping Rowe and Sarah. They would almost be like two new signings, I think.
I tell you who will be like a new signing, and this is a great point from Josh Fletcher, who says, statement, things are looking bright for us at Norwich City. Josh Sargent to come back in the coming weeks and a few more injuries, and then heading into the January transfer window, which by the sounds of it could be a busy one. I think playoff hopes are still a possibility, boys. I love the positivity there. I want to try to not get ahead of myself here, but the key point I want to pluck out of that, Josh Sargent to come back. It's going to be massive for us, isn't it, Jack?
It will be.
And I think, there will be people saying, don't expect much, expect much. USA.
I think it's amazing, isn't it? And you know what, Josh, get carried away, get excited. This is what it's all about. But it's so funny how margins are so small in football, because Norwich could have quite easily gone into that first half break 4-0 down. If Broadhead takes his chances, if Burns takes his chances, and then it's not, everything's looking bright for Norwich City. I think Sargent is huge. I think there's been a few games this season that we haven't won, particularly at home, where if he plays, we win.
Yeah.
I think he's just
Takes
got that
chances,
that quality above. I thought he was so good at the start of the season.
Stretches back lines, his runs are intelligent,
Yeah.
physically strong. He's going to be big for us.
We just have to hope that he comes back as good as he looked, because he's been out for a long while. We say with Hanley...
And like Ashley Barnes, mate, sorry to interrupt you there, he might take a little bit of time to warm up again.
Absolutely. But Sargent returning is huge.
Jason NCFC says, rate Johnny Rowe's chances for making the championship team of the season. Shifty eye emoji, money bag emoji. He's of course referencing your bet, £1,000 big C if he makes championship team of the season. Jack, I tell you what, if it wasn't, I tell you, if it was he definitely would be in there if it wasn't for his unfortunate injury.
Yeah.
A double in the derby, looks as potent as ever before, despite the fact he wasn't really in the game that much, came up with the goods. Mate, I think you're in trouble.
Let me tell you a stat.
Go on.
Players aged under 21 in the top two divisions in England, Spain, Germany, Italy, and France.
This is going to turn me on, isn't it?
To have scored 10 plus league goals this season.
This is going to arouse me, isn't it?
2 players have done it. Johnny Rowe.
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham.
Oh! It came from Colney. He's running down the wing. Mate, he's just...
Look, if the player of this...
I'd worship Johnny Rowe. I'd worship him.
If the championship team of the season was based on vibes alone, he wins it. Look, yeah, he's been brilliant.
The boy's got everything. Jeffman98 says, statement 14 years. Hayden Brown, let's stay on the Johnny Rowe show, shall we? Hayden Brown says, statement... Get the contract out, slap it on the table, and let Johnny Rowe write whatever he wants on it. And I agree, Hayden. And I would actually say this is Ben Napper's big priority. He shouldn't be napping on this one. He's got to get Johnny Rowe on a long-term contract. I don't think you can do over 5 years now, or is that Premier League? I saw a rule come out recently. But if you're able to in the Championship, get someone on a lifetime contract, get him on it.
And I think
give him the keys to the club. Let him. Do you know what? Give him whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Give him a statue. Rename I don't know, one of the rundown bars in the City Stand. Rename one of them after Johnny Rowe. Get a statue outside the ground. You know Spurs have got the hot spell on top of the stadium roof. I think we should have Johnny Rowe.
Like this.
No, yeah. Johnny Rowe just pointing up. Yeah. And then before each game, we can all just like worship him.
I agree.
Give him what he wants.
And I think Rowe will know. And I'm a poet, and I didn't even know it. He's in a good place with this team. He's guaranteed game time. He's adored. Yeah. I'd love to see Rowe stick it out until at least the end of the season because his development is coming along.
I think he will.
And I think the next move for him is a Premier League club ready, and I'm sure he would be very good in the Premier League, but he's not guaranteed game time there. We've seen it with Omar Bamadeli. Hardly played for Forest.
True.
Let's not... It's just because I want to keep him there. Don't move too soon, Johnny. Your career depends on it.
Well,
you're best off here.
Well, I know he watches, so Johnny, we've warned you. And what about this from William Tyler? Question, but after this, fact. Whatever Ipswich Town do, wherever they are, they cannot shake off Norwich City. They remain in Norwich City's shadow. Sky Sports commentary is a cold, cold true line, says William Tyler.
I thought the Sky coverage was brilliant. Chris Sutton, Matt Holland, I thought they were excellent.
No, Sutton's class.
Sutton's brilliant. I thought it was interesting, actually. Kieran McKenna is very composed and reserved, and you rarely see emotion from Kieran McKenna. He was rattled post-match. He was very rattled post-match. I think he was coming out with some comments, and I thought, well, that's a little bit naughty, Kieran.
Yeah, where are your chips? Where are your chips, McKenna, with all that salt?
Yeah.
He said I think he said something like they were in control the whole game. Yeah. I'm sorry, let me just look in the fucking football dictionary here of in control. 2-1 down at home. 2-1 down at home. In control, Kieran. If that's control, I want to know what's out of control.
It's so true.
Oh, ridiculous, Kieran. Get some chips with your salt, son.
Jack Wright, what were you all up to in 2009? I genuinely can't even remember.
I can't remember.
2009, I would have been 11.
Yeah.
What was I doing as I was probably still playing with my Action Man.
Oh, that's superb. Oh, no context is going to be on that, I'm sure. Playing with you what? I remember where I was, exactly where I was when Norwich lost to the Scum. It was in black and white. I was watching it at Dunstan Hall, funnily enough.
Were you?
Yeah, I was watching it at Dunstan Hall, and there was a couple of scum fans in there.
Right.
It wasn't
in
nice.
Dunstan?
I want to bring this up from Ben, and there's, I've seen a few Ipswich fans, give it the, are you Wagner in this week? Are you Wagner in this week? Well, no. I still think medium and long term, we need to look at coaching and improve it with the personnel that we've got. In the short term, I think, hang on, let me get to the fucking question. Ben says, question, do we think Wagner is the right man long term to get us where we want to be? For me, I'm still not so sure. I still think the way we set up doesn't get the best out of the players consistently enough, and as a team in possession, we look lost even in the games we've won. Where do you stand on David Wagner now, Jack? Because, look, 1 loss in 7, he's managed to not get, Norwich have got through it without being mauled to death at Portaloo Road. Is there a stake and claim that David Wagner is the man to take this club forwards?
Well, look, the form of the last month you certainly can't grumble at. I think what you can grumble at is still the performances. Maybe this is the result we needed, because it was weird, wasn't it? On Wednesday night against Sheffield Wednesday, we beat them 3-1, and actually, for large parts, looked really good. I thought it was a fairly complete performance from Norwich against the Sheffield Wednesday side on the up. And I still walked away from that feeling a bit flat. And I don't know what it was, because really we couldn't have asked for too much more. We scored 3 goals. Science was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I walked away and still felt there's something missing.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just the mood of the season.
Yeah.
And maybe actually this has changed it. If we beat Huddersfield, I don't think I'm going to be feeling flat. But I don't know. I think long term we do need a change.
Okay.
And I still think this team, like, if we're being deadly serious, the performance against Ipswich, we did ride our luck, and it wasn't a complete performance.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, does it change things? Yeah, it does a little bit from a mentality shift, but you can't deny the fact that we are still, mid-table. We are, let's play into the Ipswich narrative. We are 21 points behind a team who were in League One last season.
Yeah.
And that's not acceptable. So
I think that they're a bit of a. I think you've sort of hung on to something there, Jack. I think you've pulled them into the equation. They're a very one-off situation.
Okay. So, all right, put those out of the picture. You would have been disappointed if I said to you at the start of the season we'd be, I don't know, what, we'd be 10th, 9th, and like 5 points off the playoffs. But I think what it does do is it affords him a little bit more time.
Should we get into the end of the season, for example?
The mood has lifted, which I think is important.
Yes, agreed.
Should he get until the end of the season?
For me,
I think he will.
Well, look,
I think let's put aside what I think. I think the club will give him that.
The only thing I would say, Jack, is if they don't see him as the long-term gaffer, but he's going to get the January transfer window.
Yeah.
Or is Ben Napper going to lead on that? And I don't know. It's a very interesting conversation to have. I'm not sure. What I am willing to sort of make very clear, I'd be more than happy for David Wagner and his coaching staff to prove us completely wrong. Get these boys playing at full kelter, dominate games, play the attacking, proactive, fun game that we were promised. David Wagner came on our podcast and described what football he wants to watch. He says that he doesn't like to watch boring football. He doesn't want to be a part of boring football. So let's see it. Prove us wrong. Get these players. These players are more than good enough to get in the playoffs, Jack.
And look, we have said it throughout the season, and everyone's been on board. It's like he's a very good bloke. The players are still very much behind him. So not everything is bad.
Yeah.
This is salvageable. I would have got rid of him after Cardiff, pre-international break, and I would have made a change then. It almost feels now like if you're not going to sack him pre-January, which we're not, you may as well keep him for the season.
I think I said it in the last podcast. I think Napper knows his man, and I don't think he's available right now.
Is his man Wagner?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll see. But if we're taking this in a very isolated moment, the mood's lifted, and that does a lot. The city feels lighter. You're going to be coming to Carrow Road with a bit more of a spring in your step. That will help.
Yes, agreed. Jamie Everson, and we've already spoke about this a little bit, so we won't do it too much, but he says, question, is Ashley Barnes actually doing enough on the pitch to keep his place? There's this growing, I don't know, narrative feeling within the fans that they're not feeling Ashley Barnes.
I don't think that's fair.
Do you not?
I think
I'm seeing a fair few people criticise him.
Yes, I think in terms strictly performances, I think people like Barnes.
Yeah.
But I think then people are people are maybe frustrated with his level of performance.
My point is, I think it's incredibly harsh. I think the lad's just back from injury. He's been out for a while, and you see he's. I don't know. It's people will say it's cliche, it's cheap, it's predictable, but it's true. On the pitch, when he is on the pitch, Norwich City are better. The stats back it up. The stats back up.
Well, let me pull the stat up.
The facts don't care about feelings. We always say this on the podcast. Look, Ashley will know himself that he's got some room to get up to full levels again. I'm sure after being out with an injury.
Here's the stat.
Go on.
When Barnes plays, played 12, won 7, drawn 3, lost 2. 24 points per game of 2 a game. When Barnes hasn't played 10, won 2, drawn 1, lost 7. 7 points per game, 0.7. So, as you say, the stats do back it up. When Barnes plays, and I think if I'm taking it to a very low level of football and the teams that I've played in, right, and this doesn't translate, but teams are better when you've got a leader.
Yes.
Barnes is a leader, and I think he's got the experience. Yes, he might not have the legs. What is he, 32 or 30? He might be older than that. He's not a 25-year-old in peak performance. I look at Adam Eder, and I look at I mentioned it earlier, I look at the connection between him and Barnes. Eder's still learning his trade. He's young. He looks up to Barnes. And when the going got tough on Saturday, yes, he might have made the odd mistake on the pitch, and that will happen. When you've got a lad who's come in on a free transfer towards the end of his career, they will make mistakes. But he will carry Johnny Rowe over the line. He will carry Adam Eder. They will be learning off of him. They will be looking up to him, and they'll be taking nuggets of experience. Is he the all-round player? No. Will he help this side go forwards? Yeah, I believe he will.
Yeah. No, I do massively. And there's a point that's been made here by Tom George, Jack. And he says, Barnes epitomises what a derby is all about. Okay, didn't have a performance that lit up the world, arguably at fault for their second, but can't fault his passion and determination. His tackle on their keeper really set the tone for us. We've already brought this up.
It did.
We weren't going to roll over. And I don't want people to think, here's Revo, just going all in on the passion wagon. I'm a massive passion merchant. I can always be persuaded by passion. I just think it's so obvious, Jack, and you've highlighted this, how he galvanises this group of players. They all look to Ashley Barnes for advice, for guidance, for motivation. When the storm is rough, they look to Ashley. They look to Kenny. And one of the things that I would say is, you look at not all, because I don't think Pookie was that player, but most of the successful Norwich City teams, some of the most successful Norwich City teams from over the years that have won the division, they all had a spine of leaders, from the goalkeeper all the way through to up front. Obviously, a Grant Holt, for example, or even you could say a Leon McKenzie, a Ewan Roberts. These are all leaders, Jack. Ashley Barnes is that leader.
Yeah, I agree.
He's that leader. And critically, he ain't going to let this Norwich City team get their belly tickled.
And I thought the game against Sheffield Wednesday, he missed 2 glorious chances in that first half. And I actually liked the celebration when he finally scored. He was angry.
Yeah.
He was angry, and I like that. I want someone frustrated when they're missing chances.
Agreed.
This is a brilliant comment from Paul. Norfolk Paul's got in touch.
Is that his handle on social? Norfolk Paul.
In 2009, my television broke. Faced with the prospect of having to do something else, I talked to the wife and we found something else to do.
Right.
Fast forward to today, I've got a 14-year-old son who's never seen the scum beat us on the Ball City.
That is absolutely superb. Wow.
Norfolk Paul.
Norfolk Paul.
2009 was a good year.
Blimey. Might rename into Horny Paul. Ashley Bootle says, whisper it quietly. 5 points off 6.
It's Championship's funny, isn't it, Chris? Because last season we were doing the exact same.
Couple of wins. We're in the mix. We've got another platform.
Yeah,
We've got another platform. Do they want it, Jack? Do they want this?
We do have a foundation. I mean, the Christmas period will define the season.
Let's talk about the Christmas period, Jack. I wanted to bring this up, right? The festive fixtures.
Yeah.
I want to ask you for your hopes and predictions, okay?
Yeah.
So, Huddersfield at home, West Brom away, Millwall away, Saints at home.
It's not an easy period.
Couple of tough ones in there, in my opinion. Right, so let's do it. Let's go one for one, right? Huddersfield at home.
Have to beat them.
Yeah? So, your hopes, we win. Your prediction is?
We win.
What's your score?
3-0.
God, I love that from you. I'll match you.
I think we have to beat Huddersfield.
100%, mate. No excuses. West Brom away. I'm worried about this
Tough one. Would take a draw.
Yeah, I would take a draw too. God, imagine if we won that.
They're going well, and I think they are.
Yeah, but imagine if we won it.
I think they are the team, aren't they? That are probably.
They're looking on for the playoffs now.
Yeah.
They're looking very good.
So, but a good litmus test, right? A good test to see where we're at.
But I would say, Jack, well, hang on a minute. You got a draw at Portaloo Roads. Go and get a result at West Brom.
It's different.
Yeah, but why not?
Yeah.
But no, but I'm not. I'm not tolerating less levels than that.
No.
Now
They've
I
shown
know
they
this
can-
team have got it.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
West
I'd
Brom.
still take a
So
point.
we'd obviously take a point, but to be honest with you, I think we're going to lose that game. I do think we're going to lose that game.
You know what? I'm hopeful. 1-1.
Fine. Millwall away. We love a Millwall away. Win for me. Win. Tough, but we win. We win that game.
You're right. I think we do win that one.
Gabby Sarah special again.
That was a highlight of last season.
Sarah Sizzler. Southampton at home.
Ooh, tough one. Return of Russ.
We get beaten.
I actually think that Southampton have more of a chance of top 2 than Leeds.
Ooh,
I think they're 12 unbeaten. They're scoring goals.
They've come good now, haven't they?
Yeah, and you expected them to under Russ.
They've got the players. There's no excuse.
Look,
They should be in the top 2.
Look, I backed them to win the league. I don't think they're going to do that now, but I think they are the outside of Leicester. They are the shining light in this division, and that's the toughest game.
Me too. So have we agreed we're going to get 2 wins?
I mean, I would, but
We are going to beat Huddersfield and we're going to beat Millwall
in the
away.
next 4 games, I would snap your hand off for 7 points.
Right. Let us know in the comment section. However, wherever you're watching, what's your points prediction for the next 4? The festive fixtures.
I think if you take 7 points, you keep pace with the playoffs, and then you can start to build. Sarge will be back.
Yeah, just get yourself in it.
I think just keep pace.
Yeah, just claw yourself
Keep
into
pace.
the playoffs.
And
then Sarge comes along.
More importantly as well, against Huddersfield, 23rd of December, let's see a all-round performance.
Yeah, agreed.
I want goals.
Yeah.
I want a solid defensive,
Yes.
and I want to be off my seat.
I don't want a
wanna
defensive
go-
boring display.
No.
Don't do it, David. Give us a performance. Try giving us a performance again.
And I think it all depends on how Huddersfield set up, because Sheffield. You know what? I was impressed by Sheffield Wednesday.
They weren't that shit.
They weren't bad
you
at all.
said they were the worst side ever in Championship history.
New manager, and I think that shows that a good head coach can rally a group. I
do
thought they were
agree.
really
I do
impressive
agree.
at times, but we prefer to play against teams where we can get in behind
Yeah.
and Eder off the shoulder
Yes.
and Rowe off the shoulder. We struggle when it's a really deep block,
Yeah.
like against Preston. So I'm hoping Huddersfield try and do something, and if they don't, well, let's find the quality to cut through them.
Finley says rave Jonathan Rowe. Can't disagree with that, can you? We could rave about him all day long.
Jonathan Rowe is writing himself into the history books at Norwich City. I think he's been excellent. I think he's the type of player that we will look back on in 10 years and go, oh, we were lucky to have him.
Daniel Wright says rave. The police escort walking in the middle of the road like $1 million out of the ground with rattled Ipswich fans on either path. The abuse, the blue flares. It made my first away derby very memorable and special. 14 years. And he's even put a little kiss at the end.
I think it must have been a great. If that's your first derby, it must have been great.
Yeah.
I think when you're walking off the train, and I mean the policing's always shambolic for this. They kind of escort you, and then it's just a free for all, and it does get messy. I saw a few clips of trouble, and it's always a shame when it boils over. Like, you know, you go into these games and you do hate the opposition, and you can have a bit of back and forth. I just never like seeing it bubble over.
Oh, mate, obviously, like, a bit of banter.
Yeah.
And, like, we're having a bit of banter. Like, that's totally fine. But, you know, when it gets to abuse and you know, personal, and obviously when people start fights, it's not good. Ben Jones, his statement, ha 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 ha. Hashtag 14 years and bottled it. Hashtag big day out. Hashtag yellow army. That's a quality statement, that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Superb. There we go.
Absolutely.
Basically, mate, you've got to enjoy this.
You have, and you know what? I was saying, I keep banging on about Ben Bloom. It's because I've spoken to him more than my family this week. But I keep, like, so many times I've walked away from Carrow Road this season and just gone, oh, like, where's this all leading? Like, what's this all about? Why are we doing this? And it's moments like Saturday. Yes, we didn't win, but football's more than that. It's more about winning. It's about feeling a sense of belonging, and feeling hope, and uniting. And that's what we got Saturday. Us all Norwich fans, you know, wherever you're from, whatever your background, we're united for one feeling, and we got that feeling, and that's why we support Norwich City. That's why we support. It doesn't matter who you support. If you support Brighton and you've just beaten Palace, like, that feels good. That feels good, and you know, we can bottle that feeling and use it, and that's what we need to do now. We can't let this go to waste.
So I guess what we're trying to say is, let's try and look forwards now.
Yeah.
We've got David Wagner as our head coach. Whether you think he's the future or not, fine. Back these boys.
Yeah.
Back these players. Let's have big atmospheres at Carrow Road over the festive fixtures, yeah?
Equally, I think still important to hold people to high standards.
No, of course, mate, of course.
Still important to hold people to account, but
let's try and get positive now.
Absolutely.
Because we've said it before and we'll say it again. They've given themselves another platform. I know that some of the players watch this. If you're listening, seriously, use this, boys.
Yeah.
Please use this. Don't let this platform go to waste now, okay? 1 loss in 7, a draw in the derby against the team second in the league that's been flying, okay? Now it's time to really show what you're made of.
I agree.
Okay? Silence the doubters.
Yeah.
Silence the doubters. Prove the naysayers wrong, the 20%. Prove the 20% wrong, the Pompey fans.
Absolutely. And the frustration of all of this season for me has been, I think we can do more.
Yeah.
You know, as you've said, we are capable.
We will.
Maybe we will, Chris. Look, this is our final podcast before Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So
everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Get yourself a Johnny Rowe t-shirt.
Yeah, link in the description. Final chance to get that before Christmas. Have a lovely festive period. I think our next one will be post West Brom.
No idea.
Not sure.
Don't know.
So there'll be a few games probably now before we're back. There'll be loads of content on TNC. Thank you for your unwavering support in 2023. We'll have another podcast before New Year, but take care, enjoy Christmas, be merry, and hopefully Norwich City can bring us some Christmas presents.
14 years, Norwich
See you, everyone.
City.
Bye-bye.